Now this video is for my content creators out there who are feeling confused about how to plan and schedule all of this content that they want to create, either for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or even blog posts, whatnot. Well, today I am going to show you how you can create this content calendar / planner. That includes detailed templates, statuses, details, custom fields, and way more things that I don't have time to mention because we're gonna be here forever. So I'll just show you instead. And by the end of this video, you'll have a proper system set up to be able to handle it all. So let's just get into it. Now the software I am going to use for this is called ClickUp. But if you really don't want to use ClickUp, then you can definitely take a lot of tips from this video and then just apply it to whichever tool or software you are using. Alright, so I am now on my ClickUp, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new space, and I'm going to call it Content Planner. Oh, that's very fitting. As I can pick a color. Should I make it black? Alright, it's going to be a private workspace, and I'm just going to keep it simple for now and just have the to-do and complete statuses. That's it. This is just going to be me in this simple content planner, so I'm going to remove this. Time tracking, custom fields, priority tags, time estimates, milestones. So these are the click apps I'm going to use for this space, but you know, you can always remove them if it's too much for you. Just gonna keep it simple for now. Just gonna have this, because these are required views. You can always add more views later that you can delete, so there's no need to have required views. So the list is enough. That is perfect. Now, and within this space, I'm going to create a list for a platform. So underneath the content planner, you can put any of the platforms you're on, either if it's blog post writing or if it's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to use one platform, which is YouTube. So I'm just going to rename it and call it YouTube. When all of your platforms are individual lists and you go to the space then you'll be able to see all of the content that's scheduled in one calendar altogether when you click on the space, which we called the content calendar space. So it's just easier to see all of your content scheduled as a whole in one place. You can even filter them out, like let's say you're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, but you don't want to see the Instagram content, you can just filter that out. You can just use the filter option to just hide it and then show you the YouTube content and the Instagram content, for example. Now, so we have a space, and underneath that space we have one list. And you can add as many as you like, as long as they're the platforms that you post on, and nothing completely irrelevant. Now, first things first, we are going to create a template. So it's going to be a task template that you're going to use for any time you are creating a YouTube video. Well, I'm using a YouTube video as an example, but you can use the same process for any other platform. But it's going to be video process. Alright, and then within video process, we're going to create subtasks. This one task is going to be a project, basically. So this one task here, it's not going to be called video process, so every time you use this is just for the template, but every time you use the template, the title is going to be whatever your video is going to be called. But then, of course, your video will go through phases, right? So the phases will be, let's say, writing, recording, editing, uploading, and distributing. Of course, depending on the platform that you're on, these subtasks can be quite different. It can be almost the same for a TikTok video, but still a bit different. And maybe for an Instagram feed post that's a still picture, it can be very different. But yeah, as long as you have a template that has the whole process written down and broken down, it makes your life just so much easier. We won't just stop here. We're just gonna keep breaking this down because writing is still a whole process. Like, this can still take hours. So we're gonna just break it down even more. So let's say, for example, write script draft. So you start with a draft, you just start with some notes, and then let's say you write the intro and outro. What else? You can map out the thumbnail, and then also write an SEO brief, so your tags, description, all of that. And that could be your writing process. Of course, it could be way longer, but I'm gonna be here forever if I'm gonna write every detail down, you know? But yeah, that's basically the process. You have now the video broken down into subtasks, and the subtasks are now broken down to subtasks. Now we're going to set time estimates for the whole video process. Then it's easier for you to plan everything and kind of manage your time better. And I have talked about time estimates before in my previous video. I'll probably link it on the screen somewhere. Definitely check it out. So first, writing. Let's say the writing takes 5 hours for the whole process. It can take more or less depending on what your process is like, and it can always fluctuate, but it's good to have like that medium default. Then recording could take you, let's say, 3 hours. Editing, it really depends, honestly, if maybe you hired someone to edit for you, or you edit yourself. Maybe your editing style is more simple, maybe it's more complicated. Really depends. Let's say like 8 hours. Let's say the template is for a person who is editing themselves and it takes them 8 hours to do so. Then the uploading process can take maybe an hour. All right, and then the distributing could take also an hour or something. So now that we have all of those time estimates figured out, and if you're not sure how long it takes you, just break it down, see how much time each thing usually takes you. If you seriously have no idea, then that's completely okay. You don't have to write anything yet for your template. Just track your time. That's why I love tracking time, and figure out how long on average these usually take you. Then when you have like a median number, then you can add it to your template. All right, so 5 hours, that's 8 hours, 8 plus 8, 16, 17, 18. So that's the total there. I'm going to add 18 hours. Oh, why did it make it like that? 18 hours. All right, perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is set everything as the highest priority. See, because when these appear on my planner, then on the days that they're scheduled on, they will go on top, because that's the way my planner is usually sorted, and that's how I recommend sorting it. Select all of these and put them on the highest priority, so they're urgent, very important. So they are very time sensitive, so that's why it's the highest priority. Okay, so now I am going to set a description for the template. So there's so many things you can add to this. Of course, you have your own process, blah blah blah, but you know, it really depends on you. I'm just gonna add some basic things here.
that's basically how you can have your simple title. You can also have a little checklist here, and basically this can be like a check. You can add like a checklist, before you export your video or before you finish writing the script. These can be multiple checklists. I'm just going to create one simple one just to give you an example. So questions to ask before you upload the video or before you're finished with the video. Like, let's say you can ask yourself, does my title stand out? Or does my thumbnail stand out? Or whatever else. Yeah, as like I said before, you can make many different checklists here. And you can even add to the subtasks here as the last thing is like, oh, final checklist, and then the checklist name, and then you know that, oh yeah, I have a checklist down here that I need to complete before I can proceed with the next phase. All right, and that is your super simple, straightforward template done. And now we're going to save that template. So we're just going to the three dots here, template center, click here, and save as template. And we'll call it video, say YouTube video process. I can add a tag as well. Let's say YouTube. All right, and then you can customize included items. So what do I want to include in this template? All right, and then you save it. Perfect. And it'll take a little bit, but it'll be finished soon. Now that we've created a template, I'm just gonna leave it here because we're gonna need it anyways. So if you hover over the description here, you can quickly check the description. Very nice. I think this is new. I have not seen this yet, but this is very helpful. Very, very helpful. All right, so the next thing we're going to move on is the custom fields. So we're going to just sort all of this out within the YouTube list. So assignee, obviously we won't need this here because it's just going to be me. Of course, unless you have an editor who should also have access to your list. This is irrelevant for now. Okay, we need the due date, we need the priority, but we also need the start date. So we're just going to create one. I don't think there's the, yeah. Oh, start date, perfect. So there's gonna be a start date. I'm gonna add this here. So the due date and the start date, this is when you actually start with writing the script. And the due date is when you distribute it. Then we're going to add a progress bar, but we're not going to add the manual one, we're going to add the automatic one. And just going to simply call it progress. All right, so whenever you actually complete a subtask, let's set this to close, you can see that you're 20% closer to uploading the video, which is great. And then the last column I'm going to add is the amount of time that has been tracked. So remember when we added time estimates? Well, personally, I like to also track my time to make sure that I am on track with the project and it's not going to be delayed. Plus, I just love data. So now, personally, I use Toggle to track my time, and it's also integrated with my ClickUp. So whenever I use Toggle to track this project here or this video, the total number comes here. But you don't have to integrate it with a Toggle. I just love how it's way more precise and there's more data with it. You can also use the more simple ClickUp time tracking feature, which is also really, really good, and it's totally just enough for a beginner. If you don't prefer to have integrations or anything, you can just simply click here, start timer. You can even add a manual amount, a range, but you can just, click on here and then start with your project. And when you click stop, You see it stays at 9 seconds. So that is really great. And also it just, when I know that my time is being tracked on a specific task, I tend to not waste so much time with the task as well, because I know I have like a deadline. I tend to be more efficient with my time. All right, and now we're going to add stages. So I'm going to add a column here, drop down. It's going to be stages. So the stages are literally going to be the phases, or like you can call it phases, stages, whichever. Phases works as well. And it's going to be the exact same as the subtasks that you added. And the reason why I do this is because then you can keep track. So if you're working on multiple videos at a time, you know which ones are in the writing process or how many you researched on, all that. So it's going to be these subtasks plus another one, which is going to be research. So it's going to be the research phase. And of course, in the research phase, you won't add the whole template yet. So it's not needed to add here. Because what if with the research you find out that it's not a suitable video? Right. So writing, then recording, editing, uploading, and distributing. You can add funky colors as well. I'll just maybe add a few pink colors. You guys know how I love pink. I can't get enough of pink. Sue me.
So I was thinking of doing this video for a while now, and finally someone commented asking for a video like this. So I decided, you know what, finally I'm gonna share this with you guys, how I do it. So if you have any video suggestions or ideas, definitely share them in the comments, because I do read them.
But before I show you how I'm going to use this column here, I'm going to add a few more videos just to make this a bit more full, and then it's easier for me to demonstrate how you can use this content planner. So I already wrote a video idea for this video process here because it already has a template, so why not? So now what I'm going to do with these phases is, let's say, I'm not going to add a template to this one, because let's say this one is still in the research phase, and then this one could be in the writing phase, and then we already completed the writing here. So let's say, see, the next phase or subtask here is recording, so I'm going to set this as recording. Alright, and now I'm going to group these tasks, not as by their status, which they're right now. I'm gonna set them as custom field and phases. I'm gonna auto save the view, and there we go. Now it's on each phase, and you have to make sure that the phases are correctly organized so that the research is on top and then it moves down to distributing. So it's all organized in that way, because that's the only way these are going to be organized like this. So now I'm actually going to show you how I personally schedule these videos, because as you can see, there's a lot of phases and it seems very overwhelming to do all of this, right? So I actually reverse engineer all of this. So I set the due date first. So let's say this one is scheduled for the 26th, right? All right, the 26th. So that means it has to be uploaded on the 26th, which means distributing has to be done by the 26th, or on the 26th, sorry, on the 26th. And of course, distributing only takes an hour, so this will be done. You start on the 26th, you finish on the 26th. So if I collapse all of this, that's the start date, that's the due date. It really is the easiest way for me to figure out how to schedule everything, is reverse engineer. And of course you can create a calendar within the list as well, but the reason why we are mainly focusing on the calendar in this within the space is because When you have multiple platforms underneath that space, you can, and when you schedule them to your calendar, this one calendar within this space will show all of them at once, which can be very helpful. But of course, if you want to see them, the platforms one at a time on the calendar, you can either use the filter to filter the other platforms out temporarily, or you can go within the space and then go to that calendar instead. But I am going to focus on the calendar that is within this content planner space. So as you can see, we have our scheduled in videos here, but we're just gonna change a few things. So I want the subtasks to be seen, and also of course always auto save your views. Now you can actually see these as well, but that's not enough. I also want the colors, as you can see they're gray, it's because they're colored by status, but I want them colored by the phases. So like this. So that's the phases. So now you can see these are the main videos, and then these are the little subtasks underneath them. Oh, and then you can also add, so another important one I want to add is the parent name. So this adds the name to the subtask. So editing, yeah, but editing what? Oh, the how to be disciplined video. So it's way easier to see. Then you click on the 3 dots here. Make sure the view is auto-saved. You can go into these tasks. You can complete them. And when you complete them, you can exit out. I press escape, then they disappear. It's basically as simple as that.
So this is just one example of how I use ClickUp to manage my work. If you want to know how you can use ClickUp to manage your day-to-day life, so your personal life mainly, and just day-to-day tasks, and just create a planner that's within ClickUp, check out this video where I show you how to set up a digital planner using ClickUp, using the getting things done method. Because there are so many ways to set up a planner, this is just one of them. See if it works. And it's a really great way to just start off simple and get into the groove of using ClickUp in general. Anyways, I hope you have a productive week, and I will see you next time. Ciao!